Good afternoon, America. This is Richard Starkwell with you, coming in live at Good Evening America. Tonight we'll be covering news primarily on the controversial topic of civil rights. We will also have an interview with our representative Josh Tedesco later on in the program. First this evening, the Tonkin Resolution has been passed from government. Tonkin Resolution, as stated by President Johnson, has been passed to broaden the powers and to take control of the Vietnam region. Terrorists involved with the Viet Cong have been bombing key buildings and areas in that region of the area, and sources say that the American involvement can possibly put an end to this conflict. Our top story for tonight: after much deliberation on Capitol Hill, Congress has finally passed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Therefore, under this new legislation, all Jim Crow laws are now null and void throughout the nation. All public schools and state facilities, including businesses, can no longer employ the measures from the Jim Crow laws. Public reaction has varied severely throughout the nation after the bill came before Congress in February. The public has been waiting for a response. In Washington, President Johnson signed the bill himself, and now the nation will wait as the government institutes anti-discrimination measures in every state. Many speculate that this controversial bill will cause major problems and unrest, particularly in the South. And now, we'll turn over to Representative Josh Tedesco. Josh?
2, 1.
Good evening, America. Tonight I have here an African American who's ready to share his perspective on current employment opportunities. I've got here Mr. Malcolm James Johnson, and he's ready to answer a few questions. Mr. Johnson, how's your time been in the labor force?
Well, it's been real hard. My kids been getting mighty hungry, but both the Black Power movement and the nonviolent protests, they've been a real big help. Thanks to the Civil Rights Act of 1964, I have an interview scheduled later this week, since racial discrimination is illegal now. I feel like I got a real big shot at this job.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, Mr. Johnson. Just wondering, can you tell me what this means for your family's future?
Well, if I get this job for my wife, it will probably mean she'll stop working long hours, slaving over a hot stove, and changing other kids' diapers. I'm sorry. She'll finally be able to relax a little bit and get her woman's work at home. It'll also mean my kids won't have to drop out of school. They'll be able to get an education. Who knows, maybe they'll be able to go off to college and maybe get a good job. Maybe we won't have to worry about getting the rent jacked up and getting evicted, because we'll finally be able to buy our own home.
Well, thank you, Mr. Johnson. You've given us some truly eye-opening insight. I think our viewers will agree.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Of course. Now back to Rich for news from another locale.
Alright, Josh. In other news from the nation, a new fad of toilet bombing other resident homes. This new trend has surfaced primarily in the southern states of the country, where residential areas are hit with this juvenile prank. The residents in states such as Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, and especially Mississippi have confirmed that several homes in key suburban areas have been hit with this dumping of commodes on the front lawn. Complaints to municipality have been made across the board, but local officials are trying to pinpoint the origin of this new act of potty vandalism. Sources say that a Women's League member from Mississippi, a one Hilly Holbrook, was the first to experience this embarrassing trick on her home. Speculations have been made to whether this is an act to stifle any political advance from the Holbrook household, or a trend now forming from underground civil rights activists trying to send a message alluding to an impending change that is about to sweep across the nation. Well, that's all for local news from another locale. Back to you, Josh.
Thanks, Rich. Now for our next story, Jackie Robinson has just arrived, and he's ready to tell about his baseball career.
I'm Jackie Robinson, and I broke baseball's color barrier. I joined the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947, and I became the first African American to play since 1889. I faced a lot of discrimination and racism when I first started playing, but I ended my rookie season with 12 home runs, 29 stolen bases, and a 297 average. In 1949, I was voted the league's most valuable player. In the following years, I upped my average and I led my team to the World Series 2 times in a row against the New York Yankees.
That was a beautiful story, Mr. Robinson, and you're a beautiful person. The courage and perseverance that you have displayed over the past few years is incredible. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you.
Of course. That's all for our 1960 specials. Good evening, America.